Hello and welcome to the Clashing of Steel. So today I am back to that time-old topic called the matchmaking. As you already see about this match, there is a lot of artillery. There are 3 players in my team who played artillery, light artillery that is, while the opponents have 4 players who played artilleries. At first, of course, I didn't know what the opponents have. I thought about elephants, well, maybe light artillery or something. In both cases, with the elephants or the light artillery, I would have not pushed. I was so afraid of this match because if there are a lot of light artilleries, or any artillery for that matter, I'm an easy target. If there are elephants, well, I should be running half the time. So as usual, when I am the lowest tier in the match, I go for defending anything ranged that is. And to be honest, on this match I didn't feel comfortable staying close to the artilleries. Perhaps I was even slightly panicking, because I knew if I would go after somebody, I would suffer heavily. And probably if I would stay defensive, I would suffer as much. In short, this match was practically a nightmare for any infantries. Out of 20 players, 7 were playing the artilleries. A lot of players in this match were very careful about what they were doing. Not all of them, of course, but over the usual amount. Like half the team at least, perhaps even more, was very careful about what, how and where they moved. This is one of those rare matches where infantries had to be very careful. They couldn't go as aggressive as they could in many other matches. I'm sure there are many who think this isn't a bad thing. I mean, infantry is always dominating the front lines and so. Let's say it is good for a change. But do we really want to make this game about artillery wars? Artilleries fighting artilleries? Just like the elephants were at first. It was practically elephant wars. Even in worse combinations than here. These 7 artillery players per match don't come close to how many elephants there were in matches. But it can also show us what is possible with artilleries. This is just one of the possible examples how messed up the matches can be. Lately, the matchmaking seems to have gone to hell. You are often in a matchup where you're facing heavy opponents. Let's say you're playing tier 4s and you end up against tier 6 players. Or some other type of unbalance, where let's say your team has 1 ranged unit and opponents have 3 ranged units. These are the simple examples, but when it comes to tier difference, the matchmaking can often be really brutal. It will give one team archers that are of tier 4 and 5, and it will give the other team archers that are of tier 6. Or we can take another example, where tier 6 melee infantries are on one team and tier 5 on the other. I just want to point out that over the last 2 weeks or so, there has been a huge number increase of these heavily unbalanced matches. Or at least I have ended up in them. So that makes me wonder, when did the matchmaking end up so horrible? There were some updates or periods when matchmaking actually seemed to get better. Not like a lot better, but slightly better. There were less uneven matches, less unbalanced teams and so. This unbalanced matchmaking or matchmaking issues in general could be because of the low number of players. Although the queue times don't seem to be longer than they were before, it feels that there has been some form of change, either with the in-game setup mechanics, or with the number of players. Or perhaps it has just been my luck to end up in matches with 2-tier differences. Personally, I hope that there isn't a decrease in the number of players that play the Total War Arena. Secondly, I can understand there can be problems. There may be some issues that need fixing or so. But I fear that if this heavy unbalance of tier differences persists, it will drive away many new players. What fun is it for them to fight against unit or units that are a lot stronger than them? They might have a chance against same tier units, or they might learn something. But against high tiers, they are pretty much lambs to the slaughter. Another problem that may turn away many players is something like this, what is happening here. Let's ignore the tier difference for a moment. And let's take a bit similar example like it is here. It may not seem that brutal of a matchmaking issue or, well, team balance issue by unit types. I mean, we both have artilleries, cavalry, swordsmen. Now, let's say we switch all the light artilleries into javelins. Our team would be somewhat outmatched by the catapult units. There are many of these small different matchmaking issues that I fear drive the new players just further away from the game. And perhaps because of that reason the matchmaking has lately suffered. Or perhaps it is just the mechanics and the matchmaking issue. Who knows? So this was pretty much it. Personally, I hope they will put some limitation to the catapult units as well, because having 4+3 catapult players in a match is a lot. But even more, I wish that the matches would be a bit more balanced. I have often stated that I would like the matches to be ±1 tier instead of 2. Meaning that you won't be matched against 2 tier higher opponents or 2 tiers weaker. As a big infantry player, I feel that I might actually have a chance against 1 tier higher opponents, while when I'm fighting often against 2 tier higher opponents, I'm suffering heavy casualties even if I'm being able to do something against them. Plus, we want to make the game friendly towards the new players. So what other better way to start than trying to balance tiers with minimal difference? Okay, unit balance is one thing, but tier balance is something that should be done. The game is still in beta. It's work in progress and we have to accept it. Perhaps these problems or flaws will be polished out at a later point, when the number of players increase. But until that point, we are unfortunately stuck in this, annoying situation we currently are. Let's just hope it improves over time. Anyways, don't forget to subscribe, and thanks for watching.